Yeah.
Graham, you got my email, so you knew I was able to make it today, right?
No, you're not here. Yes, thank you.
Oh, so I have to clear something up. The men's shoes from last week. Photo of them.
Yeah, your picture.
Yeah, that really was the men's department. I went to J.C. Penney's one day to get shoes, and they apparently were remodeling, and they hadn't changed it yet. So I ran back to the car and got my camera.
Oh, that's right. You weren't here for the speculation about whether there was Photoshop involved.
Yes.
I'd forgotten.
Hey, Jay, that's what you get for being so competent with Photoshop or GIMP or whatever. You know, you become a suspect. But it's even better that it was real. Well,
Yeah, I had to run.
In terms of being,
Luckily, I had the camera.
I should add, in addition to being great with GIMP or whatever, the creativity that you come up with or that you possess contributed to the idea as well. So,
Thanks.
Cool. Well, welcome everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Grandma. Hello, Grandma. You were here before.
Hi. I've just been going through the 500 pictures I've taken my grandson, and not one of them is really clear. but he is cute anyway.
All right. Oh, I don't know what Zoom's doing. It's swapping people around on my screen. Anyway, welcome everybody. I don't think we've got anybody new. That's correct, isn't it? And Mike, Bill, where's Bill? There he is.
Here.
There he is. We're just doing introductions. Is there anything else we need to do before we? Mike, you're going to do your Flickr thing, yes? Correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing that we're gonna maybe discuss amongst the group here is, last week we were talking about with the weather breaking and with us getting more and more COVID shots, that maybe when we get some good weather, we can get together, maybe out at a park someplace or, somewhere outdoors where we're still trying to be COVID safe as far as masks and social distancing. Because like in Farrington Village here, on Mondays and Tuesdays, it's pretty much closed down. So there's plenty of places to find chairs and seats. And, we have a park here that we can bring folding chairs if we want, and sit around in a circle, because people have been doing that, since this started a year ago. So it's probably even safer for us to do it now. I might have to come up with something where we say, we know the weather's going to be good for the next 4 days, pick a day and time and see who shows up. But at least it can start getting back to the point of us seeing each other again.
Yep.
Through these little boxes.
What
That would be great.
Sorry, Helen, go ahead.
I just said I think it would be great because I, being new, haven't met a soul in person. So.
But I can't stop my video then.
So I will just say for everybody, it's been delightful and wonderful, but if you guys start meeting as a group, I'm going to be out of town, so I won't be able to participate once you do that. So it'll be sad for me, but I'll be happy for you guys.
Well, we'll try to do it more than once.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead. We did talk about, as we move forward, where do Zoom meetings like this fit in versus physical meetings and so on. And people seem to be fairly happy with these two. So maybe we need to think about a mechanism where we get to use both appropriately. And maybe the tutorials could move online. I don't know, really, we've thrown a few ideas around in our conversations. I guess we'd like some input from rest of you folks?
I'd like to
Well-
do both. I like both.
I'm thinking maybe we could focus the outdoor person meetings on going somewhere and actually photographing things,
Mhm,
and then keep these meetings,
mhm,
the format for these pretty much the way it is.
mhm.
And
That's a
I
great
had I had
idea.
to step away for a second to change glasses, but and maybe this was said, but if we're going to stick with 2 meetings a month, putting all what I have heard together, one Zoom meeting where we've been doing the challenges, and one meeting in person where maybe we focus on shooting things that are the next challenge. But
All good thoughts. Lynn, you're on mute, Lynn.
Thank you. So I was going to say, meeting in person to have a photography outing would be really nice, because some of us who are not as talented as others could benefit from tips of, how to shoot things from those who are more experienced and more capable.
Yeah, because my thoughts were even actually in addition to our 2 Zoom meetings, to be able to get together. We have things in here in Farrington that, Farrington, the Creekwood Trail, we have the inn, we have where I know AJ and Mike spend a lot of time in the Camden and stuff. I mean, we could try one like that and then maybe try to pick another place, because like in Siler City, they have an art incubator out there. Yeah, I'm not sure how active it is right now, but that's always a possibility too.
They have what, Bill? I didn't hear what.
An art incubator.
Oh,
They have buildings that are subletted out to many different artists, and it's very open. You're able to go in there, and maybe not now with COVID, but we were out there about 3 years ago with a group, the Farrington Photography Club, and it was pretty darn interesting.
I had a quote unquote studio at the incubator for a couple of years right after I moved to Pittsburgh, and I haven't been back up there in some time. I know they have a new director. When I was involved, it was one very dilapidated building, and I moved out because twice I had water damage on many photographs that I had there. But it's very much a place worth supporting, and I would be I need to go back, and it may be that it's expanded. They were trying to get an art walk going, and I don't know that they've had any success with that, but yeah.
They have a lot of art on the outside of the buildings.
Yeah, a lot of huge murals.
Yeah, I haven't been out there recently, but a couple of years ago, it was coming along pretty well.
sounds good. I mean, these all sound like fabulous ideas to me. Plus, of course, we've got plenty of museums when things start to really open up again. Where we could see, and I find that, even if there's not a photography exhibit on, that some of the art actually can stimulate good ideas and good thinking about what you want to do with your art. So cool, that's good input. But I know a few of us, I'm guessing that most of us on here have been vaccinated or are in the process. And, certainly with the new recommendations, we're starting to think about, real meetings and perhaps dinners and so on and so forth, which we haven't done for a year. In fact, I have the first person coming to visit tomorrow, a business guy, to look at the big photographic rig that I have in the garage, and I haven't done that in over a year. So, and we're fairly cautious. We move fairly slowly. So good. I mean, put your thinking caps on, I think, is the message from that. And maybe a Fearington meet would be a good starter, Bill, because it's I think fairly central for everybody. Plus, it's fairly easy going. We did a a hike down at Jordan Lake on Sunday, which looked pretty easy. Down from the first, I don't know how to describe this. It's the little promontory in the middle of the two big arms at 64, and it looked like there are all farm ponds down there, and it said it was an easy 1.25 mile hike. Well, it turned out to be a damn sight more strenuous than that, but there are some great ponds in there, and I will go back with a big camera at some stage and do that. But it was a little bit more tiring than we anticipated. We're Californians, you see. We're used to having paved things, not having to climb over trees and paths disappearing and so on. So I'm still getting used to the East Coast. But good stuff. So let's keep pondering that, and maybe, Bill, we could start to pull some dates together for a Fearington. And for me, I'd like to be walked around Fearington. I see all the photos that you guys turn up with from Fearington and that area, but I've never really, I don't even know where that lake is. I don't know the area at all. Now, I might be the exception here. I think a lot of you live close, but maybe that's a good start, and people can take photographs and we can see how it goes.
Yeah, for anybody that probably hasn't been a member in the past year, before COVID hit, we were actually meeting on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock down at the Council for Aging down near the community college. And that was a once per month get together. So, we hopefully someday we'll be able to get back to that again, where we can, do the in-person stuff and then with a roof over our head. But the Zoom, I think, is something that we keep on too, because it should be once a month, and I think people had trouble keeping track of it, where now we know it's every other Tuesday. And I think it's, we move along better with keeping it at least 2 times a week. I mean, 2 times a month.
Cool. All right. Thanks, folks. Thank you for the inputs. I think, Mike, you're up. I need to give you.
Oh yeah, you don't, Graham. You don't need to do that. This is all audio and not visual. So,
okay. All right. So,
in fact, that takes my first line, that this is not a slideshow. This is a sales pitch, and I don't need slides. I know where I'm not sure they would add anything. I realized after I signed on to the meeting that I'm on Sudden Stink. DSL instead of satellite because of the rain, and so I'm hoping the connection holds up, and if it doesn't, I'll sign off and try the satellite again. But yeah, the topic is Flickr, and I've had a Flickr account since 2006, so I've been with Flickr a good long time. I know Graham has been with Flickr for a good long while as well. I don't know just how long, but and many of the folks that are at this meeting and that generally come to the meetings are on Flickr already. In fact, the total membership of Flickr is 15. And 9 of those are pretty regularly attending these Zoom meetings. But only 5 of the 9 have posted anything. And since we started that Flickr page, only 117 photos have been posted. So the idea of spending a few minutes on Flickr is this: it's motivational. And the motivation is hopefully to people that are not on Flickr to get on Flickr. It's motivational to get the people that are on Flickr to participate more, to post more, to comment more, etc. And the idea in the next few minutes is not a real how-to, but as I said, it's a sales pitch. And let me just enumerate for people that are not on Flickr, and some of those that are, but maybe aren't taking advantage of it. But let me enumerate some benefits. One, the conditions change over time. And the last time I looked at 3 weeks ago, you could put 1,000 photos on Flickr without any charge. And with that, you get a backup of all those photos. If you're a free member, you're not getting quite the quality of backup that you get if you're a so-called pro member, and pro means that you've kicked in some money. And the dues right now are for a pro membership, $6 a month or $60 a year. And beyond getting higher quality uploads, rather than being limited to 1,000, you can put any number. There's unlimited uploads available, and you don't suffer through any of the ads that sometimes you get on Flickr as a free member. The second point is that I find that Flickr is a really good source for inspiration, and it's a way to keep interested. Part of my morning drill, check the news, check Flickr. It's just part of my daily routine. I do it every day, and you can get involved with groups and limit what you look at the beginning upon signing into Flickr at things from all of the groups that you belong to, whatever that group is. And I'll make another comment about that in a second. But you can also focus in on just your friends. You can sort the pictures that you preview every morning that are just from folks you know. And it's a good way to winnow down thousands and thousands of photographs that are posted every day to just the few people that you want to stay in touch with. And the people that you contact, either serendipitously or whether you have started following them, are from all over the world. They're not just from around the corner. They are from all over the world. And I'll make a comment about that in a second. And as I already alluded to, I don't care what your interest is. And it goes from the very proper and mundane stuff that's in most of our lives to the most outrageous stuff you can ever imagine. Use your imagination. If you can think of any interest or prurient desire you have, you can find a Flickr group to associate with. And in addition to people, a lot of the groups are devoted to particular camera makes or particular styles. And not just camera, but lens brands. There are groups you can join and post to that follow every camera body you have, that follow every lens type you have, who follow every kind of photography you do, black and white. For me, it's architecture. So there's just a huge opportunity out there to see what other people are doing, to contribute to what they're doing, and get inspired on your own in the process. Another benefit, and some of these overlap a bit, but you post something on Flickr and get into a fair number of groups, potentially millions of people from all over the world can see what you've done. And comment on it. And let me tell you about some of the people that I've met through Flickr. I do a lot of architecture photo, and I've met two, never in person, but on Flickr, I've met Ken McCowan, who's an architect that travels the world and never seems to be in the same place 2 months in a row. I met a guy by the name of Anthony Thompson, who's an architect up in St. Paul that's well known everywhere, that I correspond with, and who provides a lot of comment and help to me. And let me tell you, in a kind of more general way, it's been a while, but I took a cruise with my spouse to Grenada. And I don't do street photography, but I was walking along the street one day that we were there, and there was a group of kids standing around, and I asked permission to take their picture. The one person that did not duck away when I was ready to take the picture, I got a really decent photograph of him, and I posted it. And several months later, I get a reply to that post of that picture of that unknown kid on a street corner. And the post is from the guy's teacher, the teacher in Grenada that had the person in my photograph in his class. And his name is, and the person I took the picture of is named Daniel. And the guy that wrote me back, that's his teacher, gave me a little background on what a cool guy Daniel is. That was just a goosebump thing for me, to think that I'd gone as far away at home and didn't know that is somebody that I took a picture of. Anyway, now there's other, and this is kind of an ego point, or can be. Beyond just getting friends around the world or getting people to comment on your photos from around the world, it really does it enhance your exposure to other things. And again, this comes in probably in the immodest category. But let me give you a couple of examples of what's happened to me, only because I was on Flickr. I took some pictures of a bridge in Dallas, Texas, a really famous bridge, the Margaret Hill Hunt Bridge, designed by a Spanish architect, Santiago Calatrava. That's the most amazing thing. And I posted some infrared pictures and some regular pictures of it. Well, a couple of years went by, and I get this phone call, and the guy introduces himself as the office manager of the construction company that built that bridge. And it took him 5 years to build it, and all of the materials were imported from Spain, from Santiago Calatrava's own foundry. And they said they had the construction company said that they just moved into new offices, and that one of the pictures that I had posted, they wanted to use behind their reception desk. Wow. That picture is now blown up to 4 feet by 5 feet. And that last checking, it was still behind their reception desk. Now, did I make a lot of money off of that? I was stupid. I was so anxious for the exposure that they said, what do you want for a big print? And I said, it'd be better if you just printed it. That way you can do what you want with size and with texture and all of that. And I sold them the file, I think, for $25. But it's great bragging rights. It's great bragging rights. Another picture I took, I've commented about this before. I lived in Stillwater, Oklahoma, little town north of that, Ponca City. And I went there on a kind of rainy day with my spouse and took some pictures. And one of the pictures was of an old out of commission grain elevator, the Robin Hood flour mill. It's one of my favorite pictures, but I'd printed it a bunch of times. I don't know that I've ever sold it, but I got an email through Flickr from a guy that used to be a reporter and a photographer for the Ponca City newspaper, and he was at work with a city committee to convert that old flour mill into something that was usable by the community. And he wanted permission to use my picture of the mill in the article that he was writing. And of course I gave it to him. And subsequently he said, you know, there's this photo contest. That mill is now on the National Registry of Historic Places. There's this photo contest that Wikipedia is putting on, and I think you should enter that photograph. And I did, thinking, you know, well, I have no life. I can take time to do that. And the bragging rights are it's an international competition. In the United States, 5,000 photographs from over 500 photographers, and they took the 10 best, and it went to international competition. Mine was 6th. I didn't do squat internationally, but that was recognition. That was an ego boost to me, and an honor that I received because I was involved in Flickr. Last thing, and then I'll shut up. But I mentioned these architects that I know. One of the sets of photographs I have is of a house in Norman, Oklahoma, called the Bavinger House, and it was designed by a really now famous architect, Bruce Goff, who was the head of the OU School of Architecture. And he wasn't a protege of Frank Lloyd Wright because he didn't want to associate with Frank Lloyd Wright, but he was a big deal. And it was recently the 100th anniversary of his death or birth. I can't remember which, but the pictures that I took wound up in 2 international publications that one overseas and one locally, by architects that were published on the anniversary of Bruce Goff's death and highlighting the Bavinger House. If my photos hadn't been on Flickr, they wouldn't be in those publications. So, you know, I don't know that everybody needs the reinforcement that I do, but there is a lot out there if it is something that interests you. I didn't ask these people to do these things with my photographs. They were just there. There were searches done. They found the photographs, and you know, I see photographs every week in this group that I think other people would pick on and do something with. Pick on in the sense of pick out. But anyway, very quickly, another benefit is that sharing on Flickr with friends that are not on Flickr is easy and possible. It's a way of sending your relatives links to your pictures. It's a lot easier than pasting them in an email. You can buy prints now that Flickr is associated with SmugMug. I don't know that the prices are cheap. I priced an 11 by 14 glossy. It's $4.70 for that print, but the downside is $8 in shipping. Moving away from benefits and just in a minute, getting on to Flickr. Go to flickr.com, sign up for an account. Helen went through the drill not too long ago, and she could speak to how easy or difficult it was. I think, Helen, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but getting on Flickr was pretty easy. The rest of it, maybe not so easy, but it's a fairly learnable process. I'm around to help if you want it, or if you dare ask me, Helen. If you dare ask me, but getting on and then loading up photographs, searching for and joining groups, putting tags on your photographs that make them more findable, creating albums of your photographs, creating galleries of the photographs of others that you like. All those things are possible on Flickr. I got wound up and this went on longer than it was supposed to, but the message is, if you're not on Flickr, give it a try. I know that there are people here that are not on Facebook, and I get that. Flickr's a whole new world that you skip some of the garbage and the political whatever. And if you are not on Flickr, or I'm sorry, if you are on Flickr but not contributing generally or to our group, please do that. And I'll say once more that if you want help with any part of this, holler at me. I'm more than happy to help, and there are others in this group that are as well. So
it was an easy process for me, but then Mike was helping me. So I put 2 pictures up and had meant to put others. And actually 2 people have, what is the word? It's not like.
favorite, they faved it.
Yeah.
Made a favorite of it.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was shocked. I thought, my word. So I intend to do more with it.
Good stuff. Mike, thank you.
Welcome.
Enthusiastic endorsement. And I've been a enthusiastic endorser ever since the SmugMug guys took over. I was a very early user when Yahoo owned it, or before Yahoo owned it, I think. And then I let it lapse for a lot of years, but I think Mike covered the points really, really well for getting your stuff out there and for encouragement. I really like it. I've done a lot more with it in the last year than probably in the previous 6 or 8 years. So good stuff. We have a lot of photos though, so I want to make sure that we give them due time too. Are you seeing, is this sharing yet?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So you've been staring at this all along. And as usual, I don't know whose this one is. Anybody laying claim?
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay.
So in keeping with the theme, if you come to my backyard, you can pick a color.
And AJ photoshopped, or is this real?
How did you change the colors?
Uh,
Using which?
I used Photoshop for this, and what I did is I just selected the center part of the flower and then went into what's called a colorize function under hue and saturation.
Right.
It's a little easier on Photoshop than it is on GIMP, but you can do the same thing in GIMP.
I'd love to know how to do that.
Well, maybe we can do a seminar on it sometime.
It works really well. What particularly impressed me about this was you look at it and at first sight you go, oh, are they narcissus? I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yeah. And you look at them and you go, oh, that's really nice. And then you go, hang on a minute. So I liked it. I always like an image that is, it grabs you, but then it sort of has an element of amusement about it. So I love this. I thought it was a perfect interpretation of the theme
and creative as usual.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And ironic.
Well, not this week. We're not doing ironic this week, Mike.
I know, but it could have been last week.
Yeah. So I personally, I like this a lot. I think it's another excellent example, AJ. Please. That it? Any other feedback for AJ?
Colors.
Hey, we got a ton. So
All right. So that one's mine also. I'll just real quickly. The painter here couldn't decide what color to pick, of course. But I think we all know who it is. His first name is Roy. Anybody know? Roy G. Biv. Nope.
now,
Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet.
Oh.
Oh,
See, people who come from sophisticated countries know that it is Richard of York gave battle in vain.
And I guess there is some irony here too, because that is a male mallard named Sophie.
There you go.
Sophie's the Muscovy.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I heard
Yeah,
that it
right.
was made for the Muscovy.
Yeah, it
And
was.
I was surprised to see Sophie as the name because I've heard people refer to the Muscovia as Moshi.
Uh-huh.
So
Anyway, I had a lot of fun with that.
That's good. Yeah,
That's a
these are
good one.
fabulous. So did I hear correctly that Muscovy and Mallard is the same thing?
no,
Oh,
No.
okay.
Muscovia is a Central American species, and they're used, I guess, as captive pond creatures.
Huh. Cool. Again, AJ, technically great. It tells a story and it makes me laugh anyway. And those are always good things. So, and it takes a relatively straightforward shot and makes it really, really interesting. Because the problem here is that that thing could really be those colors, huh?
Yeah.
But it's not.
No, great job. Well done.
Yes.
Well done.
Thanks.
Okay.
That's mine. And I guess pick a color. This is a female bufflehead duck. We've had a pair of buffleheads at the lower pond in Camden Park, and I was getting used to my Tamron 150 to 600 lens, and it's actually, I thought it was ironic for pick a color, not that I'm stuck on irony, but because there's very lack of color, and this is a color photo. This is how it came out on that particular day.
They're diving ducks, right?
Oh yeah, they're a lot of fun to watch. They just, if you look at the tail is very fanned out. They're a very small duck. They're about a third the size of mallard, and that fanned out tail, they use the tail, they slam it down to dive. And I've got a series of photos of the male diving where you can see it clearer, but they're really fun to watch. They're very active. They don't stay above water. I think that the time above water is not much longer than below water.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
What is the white part of its head, or is that the light? What is that? That real bright?
No, that's just the coloration of the duck. I saw the female this morning on my walk, so she's still there. You have to look close though, because again, it's a small duck, about the third the size of a mallard.
What are they called?
Bufflehead.
Okay.
It's the smallest diving duck known. So
Cool. I like that. I like the lack of color. I would argue for bringing the eye out a little more, lightening just a touch. I feel like I want to be able to see a little bit more of that eye, but it's a great shot, Mike.
thank you. I'm still not happy with the. I'm still exploring the lens. It's it's not a very fast lens.
Right.
And I think to get the most out of it, I need a pretty bright day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the ISO on this is probably around 800, which usually I can get some pretty good detail. But
Yeah,
I also was using this with the Wimberley that you mentioned, Graham, I think last year. And so for my 70th birthday last month, I got a Wimberley, and so I started using that.
I found that I haven't used it much, but to me that was a whole new learning experience. It looks like a simple thing. You just put your camera on, but it's really hard. I found so anyway.
But it's really neat.
Yeah, you enjoying it?
Not as much as handheld. I mean, it just adds some extra logistics.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm getting used to it and starting to get the feel for that in the lens. So hopefully I'll have some better pictures out of the combination.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Okay, who's laying claim?
That's mine. Basically, it's right outside my door. I've been taking lots of pictures of the sky around here. And basically, I just was trying to show the blueness of the sky and how it changed closer to the horizon.
Yeah. I like the trees too. I think it works really well.
And Susan, you're using Photoshop Elements, is that right?
I actually just, okay, you'll see on the next picture, I'll tell you more, but with this one, I just cropped it. I didn't do anything else.
Yeah. And I think the way the trees move in is a positive thing in a lot of ways. It really draws the attention to the middle. I mean, you said it was all about the sky, and those trees definitely do that. But if you're using elements, and even iPhone software will do this, but you can, there's in elements under filters, there's a distortion control panel. And what you can do with that distortion control panel is to get rid of the sloping. You could have drawn the top of those trees away from the bottom of the trees. And, some people, I mean, it would be something to play with to see and those trees were probably leaning naturally.
Well, actually, I was sitting down on my stoop looking up. So I kind of,
yeah.
that's what made it sort of come in like that. Yeah.
Cool.
So Mike, what are you saying? So one of the things I could do is what?
Is go into elements and look for filters at the top of the menu, and then go into distortion control. I think that's what it's called. And then you can create correct this kind of alleged distortion. I don't think this was really distortion, but you could straighten those trees up. You lose some of the frame when you do that. And that's why for a lot of shots, I will shoot wider than I think I'm going to ever use as a crop, so that if there is any of this kind of distortion, I can correct it, because you do lose part of the frame when you use that filter. But call me if you want. I mean, I'll...
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
So this one is mine also.
Yeah.
Whoa. Mating ritual.
You got it. And actually, I have to say that I ended up trying out and purchasing the 75 to 300 millimeter lens from Ace, and use that for this. One of the things I did have to do was there was a shadow to the left of the entire, to these eastern newts, and I, using affinity, took the shadow out, and actually that was suggested by Tom, because there was a big shadow.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah. Wow. Well done. It's nicely positioned too.
They just did it that way.
No, I don't mean that. I mean within the frame.
Was that the nude talking?
Yeah.
That's really nice. That's well done.
Amazing.
Good shot. Okay.
Okay, this is one of mine. Happens to come out of an archive. But when it comes to pick a color, I kind of wonder what people think when they get up in the morning, you get ready to go out. You can see they probably have a couple different colors of glasses. Have the, if you look down at the shoes, they both have different colors.
I love it. I just love it.
This is nothing to do with Photoshop. This is just as it is.
Wow.
That's
Fashion statements.
Yeah.
Wow. Nicely seen, Bill. I like that.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's fun.
I like it a lot.
Are they sisters? Do you know them, Bill?
I don't know. This was in Amsterdam.
Maybe they're twins.
One on the right looks like she's giving me a stink eye. but she just has a mouthful of hamburger, it looks like.
I think that's an obscene gesture in Amsterdam, but maybe not.
Cool.
I mean,
Well done, Bill. I like that. I like
Yep.
it.
Oh,
This is another one of mine, again, Amsterdam. So I guess as far as pick a color, I had to choose what color that basket was going to be because I turned everything in the background to black and white.
Right.
And instead of choosing a color that's you would expect, I figured I'd find something different. So I guess peach it is.
That works really well.
Yeah. But it was just simple selecting that basket.
Yep.
And doing what they call an inverse in Photoshop Elements, and then in the background black and white, and then go and pick a color and done.
Nice.
yeah, very nice.
Highly impactful. Yeah. Cool. Well done.
And this one's just a quick one I did yesterday while I was walking the dog.
Fleetwood Trail.
Here, that little, the rocks and the silt that was built up there, on the left side of it, it's blue. On the right side of it, it's green. The water. So pick a color.
Cool. I think you did it the wrong way though, Bill. Where is that?
Oh,
This is the Beach Mast
slow
Pond.
on the uptake.
The Beach Mast Pond here in Farrington. I live just off the Creekwood Trail, and I often take our dog down, take a walk around it.
And that pond is proposed to be converted back to a stream.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep. Huh.
It looks like the background is black and white almost. I mean, are those really is that brown in the front really that way, and in the back it's that?
Yep. Yeah, there's nothing done to this except cropped.
No, I mean, doesn't it look? It looks like the back is black and white and the front's brown. It's interesting.
There was a woman the other, probably about 2 weeks ago, and I was walking my dog around the trail of the pond, and a woman thought she could take her dog and walk across here.
Oops.
And I think she was trying to avoid maybe a confrontation with the dogs or so, and she went down like a rock.
Oh,
Oh dear.
And then she walked across it and walked right past the wrong way sign.
That's what the sign's for.
Cool. All right.
This is mine. I was just trying to find a different way to use the word color. And so at UNC, I don't know if many of you have seen this, but they've got these billboards that change every roughly 30 seconds. They probably have 10 or 15 of them. And I just thought this was a little different and took it.
This is on the campus, Bob?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good place just to see different things. I find that it's a good area, UNC, to find something to take a picture of.
I think this is a really good interpretation of the brief. I'm torn about the green. I
like green.
You do? Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, when we look at something? I mean, this, it's very simple and it works. It works well for me.
Good.
You're all quiet, nothing to say?
Well, I think thinking about the grass, I mean that if you cropped out everything around it that didn't touch on the grass, I don't think you would get the perspective of it or the idea that it was not just a poster.
Right.
You got to see some part of the building.
I see that. Yep, I can see that.
It might have been more dramatic if you raked the leaves on the grass first.
Next time I'll do that. That's work.
Yeah, well, AJ can show you how to do it in
Yeah,
in GIMP.
good. Nice to see you, Bob.
Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
old rake tool.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh. Who's laying claim to this one?
That's mine. So we recently had our house painted, and I just thought it was perfect for this
But he's
color.
got color on his roller.
He's got color. He's painting. He's got color on his pants. Yeah, I thought the ladders also gave it a little bit more interest.
Yep, I agree.
The way they do it. I mean, you've seen house painters, they set these ladders up in tandem and then he doesn't actually, well, he spray paints, but he doesn't actually go down to the ground. He just goes from ladder to ladder.
Okay.
And they don't touch the ground until they're done with that whole section.
Huh.
And there's somebody that's working with him that moves the ladders, you know,
Right.
so that he can finish it. But yeah, I just thought it was fun.
It's a good shot. I
Yeah, I
like it.
like it.
It gave me a thought in terms of paint colors. I mean, if you use Photoshop, you take a picture of your house and start changing paint colors on your house to see which one you like best. So it's kind of a good idea.
Well, yeah, we didn't have much choice. The house was sort of that color after many years, and we wanted to keep it to this, what we thought was the original color. So we wouldn't have to have the house painted over, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
Otherwise it gets pretty expensive. And the HOA liked that color.
Yeah. And Larry, don't get me wrong, I like it too. I was just thinking about if you were trying to find a color, you could take a picture and then use Photoshop to change it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so you'd get an idea, yeah. Instead of holding paint swatches up next to it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I think Home Depot has an app where you can actually take like an iPad, take a picture and then change colors too.
Yeah.
Cool. Good job.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay, that's mine. And my color for both of the photos is red. And this is a, what, Eastern Flickr, I think, that was on our.
Looks like it.
Very nice.
very, very.
Beautiful.
And then there's another one that's red, the next one.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This one,
That's great.
beautiful.
Giving you the eye.
yeah, I love this
Card-
one because up
That's
close-
gonna get blosser envy. That's a really nice one.
Cardinals
Yeah.
have that habit of giving you the eye sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful.
Wow.
The way it's composed as well. Off to the left, looking to the right, looking to its left, but
Yeah.
looking into the frame.
Betty,
know-
what kind of lens did you use for this?
I used my 100-300 telephoto,
Yeah.
Sony mirrorless system. The thing that was interesting about this picture in terms of doing anything is when I took it, it was a much brighter thing. And the reason why I had to use the vignetting to tone it down is because he was sitting so close to that big branch, it almost looks like a tree, that kept popping out as being the thing that caught your eye instead of the red bird, even though he was red. And I was still working with photos, so I couldn't selectively just, tone that down. So I used the vignetting and the softening part that's on photos, to try to get that to go in the background so he would jump out more.
Yeah.
Right.
This is terrific, Betty.
Yep.
Well
This is
done.
great.
Both shots are good. Excellent.
And,
You
and
do-
for those, going back to the Photoshop elements thing, in that same filter category, in the menus, there is a vignetting tool that you can do this really quickly in too. Is that what you used, Betty?
I used it in photos. It's also very easy,
Yeah, yeah.
in photos to do that.
Was this one shot through glass?
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Wow.
Well,
That-
because the thing is, if I had to go outside with my camera and sit there until
Yeah.
something happened, so I just leave the camera sitting, near windows. And then when I see something, I grab it and, 500 photos later, there's one that, one that you think.
Well, you're getting amazing sharpness going through a window.
Really,
Yeah. Well, what I'm discovering now is I had been using autofocus, for birds, because that's usually the only thing I can really follow them with. But if they're sitting like this now, by actually switching the lens to manual focus, if the birds just don't get up and leave, which sometimes they do if you're pointing something at them, or I can get a much sharper picture.
Yeah.
Than the autofocus, even on that, which is a pretty good lens.
Well done.
I want to put in a plug that I think people should subscribe to Wildlife in North Carolina magazine so that they can be in the photography contest. Because I think, Betty, your photographs are better than the ones that win. And I think a lot of people have ones that could win. And it's very cheap to subscribe to Wildlife in North Carolina. So I've been wanting to plug that, and I was going to send an email, but instead I'm just telling you all, just subscribe to it, join the photo contest, and I think several people would win.
Great, thank you.
Cool.
I'm going to
Okay.
wash my windows.
Oh,
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
That is mine.
Oh,
Beautiful
I
color.
shot that with an iPhone.
Hmm.
It was a demonstration, but why I used that one is the next shot.
next one.
Graham, yeah.
Uh-huh.
What I do with that is, okay, that was the iPhone. I emailed it to myself and lost a lot of clarity. And then snipped it and put it into Word. And Word has a bunch of filters in it. And one of them that I love to play with is one that makes it, whatever you got, look like a watercolor.
I was just going to say, it looks exactly like a watercolor.
Yeah, I love doing that. My sister, who's done incredible things with a combination of them, but making them look like artwork. And I'm just beginning to toy with it, but
Huh.
I used that because it was colorful, and I didn't know if any of you had ever used that particular filter in Word.
I didn't even know they existed in Word. I would never.
no, me either.
It's there. You put a picture in it, click on it, and across the menu bar, tools menu will appear, and then you play and eventually get all sorts of filters. You can make it look like it's on linen, for example, or you can just
How cool.
all sorts of weird stuff. But I particularly like that one because
It works very well.
yeah, I did one of some cows that weren't Farrington cows, because Farrington cows they don't do anything but lie like a lump behind the silo. So, I've got a picture of some cows from God knows where, and did it, and it turns out like a watercolor.
Interesting. Cool.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Yeah, well done.
Post it.
Well
Gorgeous
done.
colors.
There's a lot to be said for playing.
Yeah, that to me is fun. I love doing that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well done. Oh, this is Mr. Herbert's. Has he
This is Mark's.
Wow.
He apparently had an injury and then had to go to physical therapy for his earlier surgery and couldn't be here today. But I think he told me that he shot this at some ungodly hour of the morning, like 6:30, and took 150 photos.
Wow.
Interesting. Usually they just swallow the fish when they catch it. Never seen one fly with one.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I haven't either. That's great.
What is it? A blue?
His comment about
Great blue heron.
Wow.
Mark's comment about how this fits with color is that the bird is blue.
Maybe the bird works for Uber Eats or DoorDash.
Yeah.
You can tell Mark that we're really glad he told us that the bird was blue.
Yeah.
That was the clinching factor for us. This is a good shot. I think he also said, Mike, that this was the first time he'd used his big camera since his surgery.
Yeah.
And that, given all of that, this is amazing.
Well, and this, I recall, I think I'm correct, that he sent me an uncropped version of this. And this has been, I think, blown up quite a little bit. And it was on the move, obviously.
Right.
And I think he had to pan.
Yep.
And it turned out sharper than I could have ever imagined, especially with a bad arm or shoulder.
Yep. Yeah.
Where was he? Do you know?
At the dam at Jordan, I think.
Like, yeah.
Wow.
I think.
Well, give him our congratulations on that one, I think. Ooh.
Oh, look at that.
It's beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Lovely.
Who's laying claim to this?
I had to unmute. That's mine.
Yeah.
I love to take pictures of flowers, and so I pick a color as I picked my favorite colors of flowers. These are actually Japanese magnolia blossoms.
Beautiful.
And they, when they're on the tree, they're so far apart. So I picked a couple and just stacked them, and then shot the image of them stacked to get more of the petals closer together.
Right. Wow.
That clarity is amazing.
It looks like fabric to me, doesn't it? I don't know. It looks
the texture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really like that.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yay. We're glad you could come now.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah.
Really enjoy that. That's a nice image.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and that's mine too. Again, and this was another, I love the colors of flowers. This is actually a double daffodil called Tahiti that was growing in AJ's yard. So the Japanese magnolia was taken inside, so I had a lot more control. And this was taken outside, so between my hand movement or the wind, it kind of, it's not as sharp, but, and then I cropped in real close on it, which sort of probably doubly softened it, but I think it works.
I like the soft focus.
Yeah. And in spite of the soft focus, you can still see a water bead or two.
Yeah.
Very
Nice.
nice.
I think the softness really adds.
But this one, for the other one though, the sharpness was.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
I like this. I like how the light varies from left to right too. Nicely done. That's really nicely seen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is this a telephoto lens that you're using, Beth?
iPhone.
iPhone?
They were both with my iPhone.
Wow. That's incredible.
And actually my older phone, my iPhone 6, believe it or not, I didn't get my new iPhone after these. So these are from a file.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Wow, that's amazing. Just shows, you know, when you see the Apple ads, I often go, is that really an iPhone? So
Yeah.
nice.
And I didn't Photoshop these in any way. The color that's there is the color that was captured.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And Beth, are you on Facebook? There's a Suza White, S-U-Z-I, or S-U-Z-A, is in the group, but she's not attending meetings. But she shoots exclusively with iPhone, and is somebody that probably knows more about the manipulation, the post-processing with an iPhone of anybody. But
Right.
if you can find any of her stuff, and I don't know whether she's on, I think she's on Flickr, but she's not a member of our group. But Susan White's somebody to look out for.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Whoa.
Nice.
That would be mine.
Hey, Tom. Nice.
I like that.
Right.
Mexican blanket. I think I was probably taking a nap and flipped it off of me and like on the comforter, and I thought, oh, let's go get the camera.
Tom, for me, you're breaking up really badly.
Yeah, I'm
Too.
I can hardly understand anybody. There's my picture.
Nicely shot. I like, again, you know, you guys are doing great work. This is really intense. I like the high contrast. It works really well here.
I like the blacks in there, the serpentine black.
And I like to, Tom.
Pardon?
I like it too, Tom. And I think, and going back to what Graham has taught me about picture within a picture, I think there may be more than one picture in this.
Yep.
Could have used a sombrero.
I can't understand what anybody's saying, so.
All right. Good job, Tom. Oh.
This is mine. We recently painted some rooms upstairs, and in testing out colors, we bought the small containers, and you know there were 4 different little squares of color. And so originally I thought, you know, I'll pick a color that the 4 would be good, but then I decided to take a close-up of just a few of the swatches, and I like this one better than the 4 different colors because you could see the brush stroke marks, and kind of like the contrast with the blue is the new color and the beige is the old.
I love this. This is, I mean, I think the way it's presented, the framing, the way you've split up, you know, the frame, so you've got all of that blue and then the beige to the right. This is a great abstract. I mean,
yeah,
this could
really. I didn't think it was that good.
Oh,
other than the texture.
I really like this, and
I do too. I do too.
It blows me away how, you know, we all walk around all day, and there's an image like this sitting just there. In, you know, I like this a lot, and I've worked with guys who used to do a lot of this stuff. Anybody, you've probably heard me talk about Mike Osborne before, but when he retired, he was a Yosemite Park ranger for 35 years, and he retired to Portland, and he found this old scrapyard, and he got him to agree to let him go in and photograph the cars. And they thought that he wanted to photograph cars, but what he wanted to do was photograph the rusting, and he just turned out a whole book of abstracts. And it taught me a lot about you know, thinking about how to see and look at things. And this is another example of how you see something that, in quotes, is mundane every day. It's something we all walk past every day, and yet it can be turned into an image. And Mike, I think you should be putting this on your wall once you've finished your painting, of course.
Thank you. Well, the painting is done.
I like it a lot. I really like it.
Thank you.
Super.
Cool. What else we got? Aha.
Ooh.
Prescription bottles.
Mine.
Wow.
I was thinking about as Mike B just was talking about what he saw, and I had thought about, and there's some famous painter that was painting sell for $1 million, and they're just all one color canvases, like red or blue, and that was, and I'm not educated enough to know who that was, but that was my first idea about that. But and I want to say that in reference to this photo of mine, that I would not have taken this picture had it not been for this group. And I think that it's another testimony to a Flickr-like group, that if it had not been for seeing what some others are doing, AJ blows me away. I mean, there are people that in this group that have caused me to try to get more creative. And I've had these, I can't tell you, this is a small portion of my collection of prescription bottles. Now, I will say in my own defense that it's been years since I've been collecting them, but I've tried to find, you know, a community pharmacy or somebody to donate them to, and nobody will take them. And I don't feel like just throwing them in recycle. I think, boy, they're going to be good for somebody for nuts and bolts. So I have these bags full of them, and it just hit me, just, you know, and the picture is on a light table that I made, and I've if you remember that photo of that rusty object that I took some time back, was taken on the same light table. There's a Nikon speed light underneath a piece of white plexiglass, and it's in a box that's lined with a white trash bag. So one speed light below, one speed light above, and then playing with how much power each of those speed lights gets, so things get balanced.
Yeah, the lighting here is fantastic. It really is.
Fabulous.
Well,
Mike, the two green bottles are really, really perfect.
Well, and you know, that was an afterthought too. I had, and yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because I think that ultimately makes the picture.
Yep.
That if it was just those amber colored, and you know, there were a lot of pictures within a picture, and I did what I could in terms of getting away from the stuff so that I had a lot of crops up possible. And ultimately, I don't know that I like the crop of all the amber bottles, but I needed this crop to put those two green bottles where they are in the frame.
Yep.
The red circles are good too, I think.
Yeah.
Really set it off.
Excellent job. I mean, there's some fabulous photos again here today. Fabulous work. This is
incredible.
Right up there, Mike. One of your best.
Well, thanks for saying that, Graham. I appreciate it.
I like everything about this. I mean, it's tack sharp. It's beautifully lit, and that, as whoever it was said about the green, that just makes it perfect. Excellent. I mean, really, really excellent. You guys are getting to be, you know, you need to get your work out there. Listen to Uncle Mike about getting on Flickr. So, you know, get your work out there. It's really, there's some great work coming out, folks. I mean, really, you should all be very proud. And I think that might be it. I think you might be the last today, Mike. There we go. Yep. So what a fabulous job.
Yeah, terrific again.
I think you guys are just doing work that gets better and better. I see improvement in everybody's work. It's fabulous. Really good. Really excellent job. So
I love seeing everybody's work. I just think this is fascinating, and I've been very happy to be a part of it. Thank you.
Well, and I said to Graham in an email not long ago that the focus, no pun intended, of this group in our meetings is different from the usual camera club. We've de-emphasized programs and emphasized reviewing photos. And I think that's partially why the group has done so well and the people in it have done so well. That rather than just trying to tutor, there's the constructive criticism has just been great in terms of everybody. And I think it's a unique quality of this group. And I hope we don't lose this and go back to being program driven.
I'm competing with AJ now. I agree with you, Mike. Now my timing was poor. I do agree with you, but I'm feeling the need to compete with AJ and his background. So
And
Have to get some motorcycle backgrounds.
I also want to thank this group, because if it hadn't been for this group, I wouldn't have mentioned needing a zoom lens, hadn't communicated with Ace and bought his 75 to 300 millimeter lens.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's called gear acquisition syndrome.
I know. I know. I'll have to blame you all if that starts happening.
That Wimberley was twice the price of my my Peak Design tripod. So
Oh, you got the Peak Design. Hey, I noticed, by the way, you used to get a 20% discount on Peak design stuff on Flickr, and I noticed that's vanished. I was kicking myself that I hadn't got that tripod. I loved the look of that carbon. Did you get the carbon one, Mike?
I couldn't afford that. That was as much as the Wimberley. So I mean, the aluminum.
Yeah.
I bought the aluminum. That was a $300
Right.
expense, and then the Wimberley was $600.
Oh,
Yep.
ouch!
Yep.
Plus I had to buy the foot plates specific for the lens.
Right.
So
Hey, Bill,
yeah.
Bill, can you maybe send out the link to this group's Flickr page and one of your emails so that everybody that's interested can go there and look at it?
I went on Flickr and just searched for InFocus, and there are a bunch of InFocus, and one of them was in the groups was Chatham InFocus. So I can post that to chat if you'd like.
Okay.
Right now.
And this is AJ. This is another group that you need permission to join. So you won't be able to get in immediately, but depending on how far away Graham is from his computer.
Well, I'm a
you'll get-
member. I'm a member already, but I just thought
Oh, okay. Okay.
other people that aren't might want to check it out.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, folks.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Around some fabulous images. Absolutely fabulous stuff. And Bill, is it triangles in 2 weeks? Is that right?
That's triangles, yep.
Triangles in 2 weeks can be
Either physical triangles or composition triangles or some triangles that somebody else figures out we have.
Yep. There you go. All right, folks.
Thank you, guys.
Take
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.